decisive evidence. I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. And now, to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up? 2 types of blood were found on this shoe. One was, of course, the victim's, and the other blood type matched that of the defendant, Ms. Lana Skye. This shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence. What? There was blood found on that shoe? Try Lunchland for all your lunch and decisive evidence needs. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Why is this the first time I've heard of this evidence? Simple. As I've already said, I don't trust you with evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. That's why I took the liberty of investigating this myself. And you had blood tests performed? Didn't I mention? I have 3 boyfriends in forensics. In any case, Your Honor, I can't accept this as evidence. What? You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. In other words, this shoe is illegal evidence, at least for the time being. Is that right, Mr. Wright? Didn't we already get, like, a photo in? It seems so. Edgeworth sure is celebrating. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. Don't forget, I used to be a detective. As I mentioned previously, this shoe has already been tested by a member of the forensics department. As you can see, it was approved by the police department as of today. Even the general public can produce official evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. Edgeworth is looking pretty sullen. You could at least study some evidence law, really. The prosecution's complaints notwithstanding, it appears that this evidence satisfies the first rule of evidence law. However, it seems you have yet another count against you, witness. Anything to ensure the guilty are properly judged? Victim's shoe out of the court record. White enamel shoe. Enamel shoe? There's traces of blood from Goodman and Lana Skye. Very well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. I want to examine the evidence. A shoe avec sang. This blood. It's my sister's, right? It appears so. Lana's right hand was bandaged when I saw her in jail. She must have cut herself at the time of the crime. Poor sis. Better go through. Blood at the bottom of the shoe. Ah! There's blood here too! On the sole of the shoe, it's got to be the victim's. He must have stepped in a puddle of his own blood. Oh, this is the victim's shoe. Oh, this blood. That's horrible. This blood might be an important clue. Really? 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 What's inside the shoe? What's inside the shoe?
Spiders.
Spiders? No! Okay. Bork, bork, bork. Alright, let's cross-examine the witness. Decisive evidence. I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. And now to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did not bring this up. Oh, the victim's shoe. Yeah, you did say it was the victim's shoe. And you found the shoe at the scene of the crime? I detained the chief prosecutor and notified the police department. I wanted to make myself useful while I was waiting for the police to arrive. So, like an ill-trained pooch, you snuck off with a shoe. I was afraid someone would erase the chief prosecutor's crime. This shoe is my secret weapon if that should happen. See this fashionable basket I have here? It carries more than lunchboxes, gentlemen. I'm happy for you and your lunchbox bag, really. In any case, you removed valuable evidence from the scene of the crime. Now, tell us what you did next. Two types of blood? The other blood type? How many blood types? This isn't like a genetic test, it's just like A, B, and O, right? You can't say for sure the blood belonged to the defendant with a blood test. You claim to know something about blood tests, rookie? Huh. Well, speak up. Oh, well, blood comes in 4 types: A, B, O, and AB. However, you can't tell from a blood test whether a murder was committed in cold blood. That's just a figure of speech, Mr. Wright. Actually, we can differentiate between millions of types with all the blood tests out there. Which means that we can more or less narrow any sample of blood down to just one person. Or so I hear. That's pretty specific. If I had a little more time, I would have gotten DNA test results. But they said there's very little doubt it could be anyone's but Ms. Landa's skies. So the suspect's blood was found on the victim's shoe. That ties her directly to the death of Detective Goodman. I was afraid he was going to say that. It's flawless, decisive evidence. Hold on. There's no blood, like, on the ground for the, to... Bark? Now I'm gonna press around to get to a... Why did you lie about those 5 minutes? I guess you could say I just wanted people to look at the results. The results? How many times do I have to say this? I saw the chief prosecutor stab the victim before my very own eyes. Compared to that, a 5-minute blank means nothing. Why didn't you just tell the truth? Don't make me laugh. We're dealing with the most untrustworthy of the vile lot known as prosecutors. Falsified evidence, arranged testimonies, erasing and manipulating evidence. When you fight monsters, you need to use every trick in the book. This when the suspect is admitting she did it. But false testimony is the most despicable crime of all, Ms. Starr. Let's just get this over with. Okay. Actually, we're not sure that the blood was the victim's. So, you brought it to the forensics department. If you're going to submit something as evidence in court, you need it approved. To do that, evidence must be analyzed by a forensics expert. And she got away with a little coup because she used to be a detective. The shoe does appear to have bloodstains on it. Well, the man was stabbed after all. And that blood belonged to the victim, Detective Goodman. As I said, there were 2 types of blood found on the shoe. That's pretty sly, hiding evidence like that. There's nothing sly about a lawyer using the law as a weapon. In any case, science is always on our side. Don't forget, scientific investigation is the wave of the future. Maybe I should investigate this evidence a little more closely. Okay, so when we investigated it and checked it, was there anything more that we wanted to check at? We checked that one. We checked that one. And we know that really can't be the appropriate blood. Do I put it here? I don't know where I put it. No, something like that. Mark. It was, of course, the victims. Flawless, decisive evidence. Can't let this evidence go through without a fight. You ordered the peppered fish guts, right? Some like it hot, Mr. Wright. Some like your client. She's in enough hot water to make a whole vat of soup. Mr. Wright, do you or don't you have a problem with this shoe? A problem? Yes. This is critical. Is there a problem with the victim's shoe? Yes, there's a problem. I'm not imagining things. I'd say there is one critical problem with this evidence. A clear contradiction. That gleam in your eyes. You're still young, rookie. I'd give you a peppered fish gut now. But you couldn't take the heat, could you? Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What is contradictory about the victim's shoe? Show us the problem with his evidence. It's on the bottom. Hold on, it's the... Stop. It. I wonder if you noticed. There's blood on the bottom of this shoe. Don't mess with me, rookie. Or it'll be your blood on the bottom of my shoe. Indeed, there is quite a bit of blood on the bottom of the shoe. It makes sense. The victim was stabbed with a knife. What could possibly be contradictory about blood on the bottom of his shoe? Now, how do I show the picture? The problem lies in the footprint. The footprint? Note that the bottom of the victim's shoe is covered in blood. Then, isn't it strange? Why weren't any bloody footprints found at the scene of the crime? Aha! As you can see, there were no traces of any such footprints at the scene of the crime. There's no blood anywhere on the floor. That contradicts your claim about this shoe. This picture only shows part of the floor, so there could have been bloody footprints. Then where are they, Mr. Edgeworth? Because we checked the scene and found nothing of the sort. Order, order, order. Well, witness? What? Huh? We're going, Mr. Wright, but... It's true that the lack of a footprint is a contradiction. But then we have to ask why there wasn't a footprint. Oh. That's true. There has to be a reason why there wasn't a footprint. Think, Mr. Wright, think. Hey, I don't know why it's not there. I'm just good at finding contradictions. What? I see. Now I get it. Get what? Our witness is more devious than I gave her credit for. You were hoodwinked to the very end. But she slipped. There's one vital hint of the truth in her testimony. What are you talking about? Think back to when she told us about apprehending the suspect. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. Oh, she's beautiful, but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Rawr. I thought that was a strange thing for the normally cool-headed chief to do. No kidding. Now, witness, allow me to ask a very simple question. This oil drum, was it empty? Oh, that, I'm not sure I like your attitude, Mr. Edgeworth. Though apparently you're not the slowest conveyor belt in the lunchbox factory. Witness, well, was the oil drum empty? The oil drum kicked over by the chief prosecutor was brimming with water. Water? What does that mean? Still don't get it, Mr. Wright? Do you know the reason she knocked it over? The real reason? Aha, you don't mean... Yes, the suspect knocked over that oil drum for one reason and one reason alone. To erase the bloodstains that would become evidence against her. Wow. That ties things up quite nicely. The bloodstains left on the victim's shoes tie her quite clearly to this murder. Then, after the deed was done, she knocked over the oil drum to erase the telltale signs. Why, that's a prosecutor's specialty, erasing evidence. And that reminds me, Ms. Sky's right hand was hurt. Didn't she say she'd cut herself when she'd stabbed him? So that's when my sister's blood got on the shoe? Well, I see no reason to prolong this trial. Mr. Wright, do something, please! What? What can I do? Your sister has confessed to the crime and she tried to conceal it. But... Enough. There's no need for further debate. Verdict, Your Honor. Very well. But Angel Star is on the prosecution side. She could have been lying about the water. This court finds the defendant, Ms. Lana Sky. What? Little girl, what did you just say? Huh? Me? Did you say that I, Angel Star, was on the prosecution side? Well, yeah, you are. You're saying my sister hid evidence by erasing the bloody footprints. Well. I thought you'd had your fill, but here you are, demanding a second helping. Another lunchbox. A lunchbox called evidence. Wait, witness, don't tell me you have something else. The time for deliberations is past. Any further comments and you will be held in contempt of court. It's not your job. Threats don't scare the cough-up queen. Look at this! Photograph. I had it, just in case anyone had the gall to suggest that the white shoe didn't belong to the victim. I see no room for error in this evidence. Mr. Wright, wait! Look at the asphalt in this photo! Hey. It's clearly wet. Erasing the last trace of doubt from the court's mind. Immediately after the murder, the crime scene was washed with water. I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. Guess I couldn't help after all. It's not your fault. I knew I couldn't win this case from the beginning. And it seems this is what your sister wanted anyway. I'm sorry, Mia. I can't look at that, can I? No, I can't. Right. Wet or not. Don't be so quick to throw in the towel. Get yourself up off the asphalt. Take another good look. Don't give up. Not till the bitter end. This is the last piece of evidence. Very well. This time I'd like to declare a verdict for good. Your Honor, wait! What is it with you people? Can't I hand down my verdicts in peace anymore? Whatever it is, can it wait? No, it can't. Then it will be too late. Look at this photograph, the last one submitted. This trial isn't over until we give each piece of evidence proper consideration. So, right. Are you saying there's a problem with this latest piece of evidence? Yeah. I'll think later. Yeah, there's a problem. Right or wrong, I've got to go ahead with this. First law of evidence? suppose since we've come this far, we should give every claim a fair shake. Very well, Mr. Wright. Show the court the problem in this photograph. Let's see here. What is the problem with this photograph, besides there is... What is this coming out of the tailpipe there? First off, why is the shoe here? Why is the shoe off his foot in the first place? I'm going to question the shoe? Bork? You think I can understand pointing?
It looks like right there.
There, oh, wait. Muffler?
Muffler.
Muffler! The secret word. Yes.
I forgot what it was called.
The problem in this photograph is here. What's this? There's something poking out of the car's muffler. Wait just a moment, Mr. Edgeworth. Your Honor, you just said muffler. However, I see no trace of a muffler or scarf or photograph of a muffler or scarf of any kind in this photograph. The muffler is also part of a car or motorcycle, Your Honor. Just think of it as part of the exhaust system, a pipe. I see, and I see. What's that suspicious-looking cloth sticking out of the car's muffler? So what if there's something sticking out of the muffler? What does that have to do with this case? Nothing, absolutely nothing.
Objection!
Sorry, Miss Starr, but it's not going to be that easy. In fact, you've already told us why this is important to the case. You said as much in your testimony. What? Let's hear what Mr. Wright has on his mind. Tell us why you think this piece of cloth and the muffler is related to the case. Cause she's making a phone call about it. Miss Starr, recall your testimony for the court. Ah yes, when I arrested her she mentioned the muffler. And that's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. Muffler. Yeah. Could it be that the muffler you heard mentioned was actually this exhaust pipe? If so, that means this piece of cloth is vital evidence. Oh. Well, seems we will have to suspend the proceedings. Suspend? I find myself wondering about that piece of cloth. If we leave any question unanswered here, we do a disservice to the law. Have the car at the crime scene inspected at once and bring me that cloth. The verdict will wait until after we've seen all the evidence. Agreed? Suppose so. Phew. That was close. But we made it. At least for now. This court will adjourn for a 30-minute recess. It's lunchtime after all. He's still hungry? Yes. To be continued.